I've got to say, I mean, Neil, a man like this deserves a big introduction. The first and only British fighter to win a UFC world title and the only British man to sit in the Sports Hall of Fame. I mean, Michael, the Count Bisping, with us here on the eve of the release of a documentary movie depicting his life story, Bisping, the Michael Bisping story. And this documentary goes out in about a week or so. Are you pleased with it?
Yeah, that's right. It actually releases tomorrow, and video on demand, wherever that is. But yeah, I am pleased with it. Yeah, it took a long time in the making. We started in 2018, but unfortunately there was a pandemic. I'm not sure if you're aware or saw it in the news. So it took a while, 4 years, but here we are. Very, very excited, very nervous as well. Because
nervous? You nervous?
Yeah, it's kind of, I talk about my emotions and things like that, you know what I mean? As opposed to being a tough, rough and tough guy, I'm getting all teary-eyed and emotional. So check it out.
Well, I mean, it's all about you. When you've read about this fella, Simon, and actually you were talking to me about him. You know all about him. You have been through everything, Michael. I mean, when we talk about Rags to Riches story, it certainly not so much rags, but it was a tough upbringing for you. You had a dad who you described as a maniac and a psychopath.
Sorry, Dad.
That was on a good day.
That was a good day, Neil.
Yeah, exactly. If he's listening to this, definitely a bit of a psychopath, bit of a maniac, but a great father as well. He loved me dearly and he supported what I did. But growing up in our house, it was a turbulent household, shall we say. But it prepared me for my many years inside the octagon.
And inside the neck. Did you not have a spell in there?
Yeah.
Were you not a bit of a Manchester United hooligan?
Yeah, well, never a football hooligan, but I guess a bit of a hooligan. Do you know what I mean? Just growing up, nothing bad, but I got into a few scraps. Go figure. I became a professional fighter and a pretty good one. So growing up in a small town, there was a few older guys always wanted to test me. They're always like, oh, here he is, the karate kid. So when you're young and you've had a couple of lagers, you end up getting into a few scraps. And then when I was and then unfortunately, I did a little spell inside. And it was at that point I had some soul searching. I was like, wow, what am I doing with my life? Yeah. And that's when I made a change. And then, kind of went on this path that I'm on now.
How did UFC come along then, Michael? Did you go to it or did it come to you?
No. So I wasn't even aware that it existed, to be honest. I just wanted to do something with my life, and I had an extensive martial arts background. And unfortunately, because I was getting in a few scraps, I knew I could fight. And somebody told me about the UFC, and as I say, I'd never heard of it. And they said, listen, out in the States, the champions, they're bona fide celebrities, they're in movies, they're making good money. I was like, well, I'll have a bit of that. So anyway, I started training. I went 10-0 in the UK. And then they have they had a reality TV show, which is kind of like Big Brother, where 16 fighters live in a house in Las Vegas. No contact with the outside world. It's called The Ultimate Fighter. So they came to England and had some auditions. I got the part on that. And then went out to Las Vegas, won the entire thing, and ended up in the UFC. The rest is history. Many injuries, no knees, one eye, and a lot of brain damage later. Here we are.
I mean, Neil,
I'm sat in the middle between him and Simon Jordan.
I've got to say, I mean, one defining moment. You were up against this guy, Vitor Belfort, right? And you got a kick to the head. 6 surgeries later, you're still blind in one eye.
Yeah, I'll show you something. Look.
Oh no, Michael!
Boom!
Oh my!
It's radio, so you can't see. It's PG.
Neil, you missed that.
I'm not watching it. I'm not watching either.
But I just whipped my eyeball out.
Yeah,
now that, ladies and gentlemen, we're just live on YouTube and Facebook.
It was eye-opening.
There you go. There you go.
What are you going to do? All week.
Michael, what a time! Did Dana White not get in touch with you saying your career was over?
Oh yeah, many times, and. I still wanted to fight. Well, I still had to fight. At that point, I hadn't achieved what I wanted to achieve through my fight career, which was, financial stability for my family. And I hadn't opened any other doors. Like now, I guess in hindsight, it was a blessing in disguise because I was like, well, my fight career is going to be over at any moment. So I started doing whatever I could to open other doors, doing other things outside of fighting. I managed to continue for about 5 or 6 years like this, don't ask
how did you do that?
Don't ask any questions, you'll get no lies.
What happened with the doctors? Because clearly, surely, They must have said to you, you can't go on.
Yeah, well, no, I memorised the eye charts and all kinds of stuff. You know, I used to have little codes with my boxing coach because all they're going to do is cover up one eye and say how many fingers. So I would say, if he holds up one, go, if he holds up two, go, oh. You know, we had these little codes. It was very, very stressful, but you got to do what you got to do.
Was it day to day as well then? You know, like, you know, when you didn't know when your career was going to finish.
Yeah.
Did you value it more then? Did you become more passionate about the sport?
Well, of course, and because I hadn't, you know, I mean, selfishly, I wanted to become champion of the world as well, and I felt I had the ability to do that, and I thought, right, okay, well, you know, I haven't done that yet, so the clock was ticking, if you will, but 2016, I actually got a shot at the belt, and happy to say that I succeeded. Yeah, that's right. We've got a big fight on this weekend. That'll be on BT Sport. Tom Aspinall taking on Alexander Volkov, a Russian guy, and a huge fight card at the O2 Arena. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, and Volkov Russian, what's the latest with him?
Yeah, well, no, exactly. It was touch and go whether or not himself and a couple of other Russians that are on the card as well were going to get into the country. But I've seen pictures on social media. They're acting like tourists, you know, Instagram and whatnot. I've seen them. So they're in the country. The fight is going ahead.
Yeah. Simon, you are well into your boxing.
I am, yeah.
Not so much UFC.
Yeah, mixed emotions to it. I mean, I spent a lot of time in and around boxers, went and watched Lennox Lewis fight around the world, and also spent a lot of time watching lower level fights. And I always liked boxing, and I didn't like UFC.
Yes.
And when I went to watch UFC, what I found I didn't like about it, I didn't like the audience. I felt the audience behaved in a certain way, which is almost like some sort of gladiatorial killing sort of mentality, and I didn't like the sport. Now, over the years, Adam Cattrall, who is a boxing correspondent here, speaks so highly about it, and obviously I've seen the generation of Dana Whites coming through and monetising it, but I'm always challenged about the brutality. You know, I know that we sit here and we want to see someone getting knocked out in boxing, but it's something that's so to almost, for want of a expression, to the knuckle with UFC that I can't get my head into. I don't like it. It makes me wince.
Allow me to retort.
Go ahead.
So obviously, I'm a big boxing fan as well. I was raised on boxing. Mixed martial arts is the most technical sport on the planet, let me tell you, because you got to master so many different Olympic sports: wrestling, boxing, karate, taekwondo, judo. These are all Olympic sports. The only thing is we do them all together. And now to the layman, obviously yourself, that hasn't put the time and effort into learning about the sport, when you see somebody hits the ground and you think, wow, that's very vicious because they're following them down, what happens is you get a concussive punch to the face, you go down, you take one more, they stop it. In your sport, which you love so much, which you say is not brutal, many people continue with a standing count. They go to the hospital afterwards, and sadly 10 to 15 fighters per year around the world pass away. We have yet to have anyone pass away with mixed martial arts. The smaller gloves that we use are actually to protect your hands, but you can't take as many blows to the head. And of course, we don't discriminate. It's not just the head. We have leg kicks, we have body shots, we have grappling, we have jiu-jitsu, we have chokeholds and things like that. So whilst on the surface, and as I say, I'm a big boxing fan as well. On the surface, it looks vicious, but when you scratch the surface and you get into it and you understand it...
I put some time into it. I just didn't think it was worth the effort for what I saw. I had a cousin who was a professional kickboxer, so I looked at the side of things and had an open mind to it. I don't like it. I don't want to. I understand what you do.
When was that? When was that, though?
Oh, it's a while back, and I am becoming a bit more in tune with it and a bit more accepting of it.
Changed?
100%. So from where it first started, it was a disgusting sport. It was very, very vicious. There was no rules. 2003, the Fertitta brothers and Dana White got involved, and the athletic commissions got involved, and they put in rounds and they put in weight classes and all the rest of it, and it is massively evolved. I mean, now it's on ESPN in the States, right alongside the NFL, the NBA, etc. So you're watching an outdated product, sir.
No. I went to an event in 2007 where a very well-known friend of mine was handing out awards, and it was
15 years ago.
Yeah, but it's still not 2003. You said the rules came in 2003. The change was there, right? In 2007, and I went there. It was sponsored by Nuts magazine, which told me all I needed to know. And I watched the dynamic, and I thought, not for me.
Well, it was sponsored by Nuts magazine back then, but you got to start. You know, you're trying to attract sponsors and all the rest of it. You know, so
is it one of them that?
And by the way, a boxing crowd. Come on, mate. Maybe at the front row.
That's true.
Maybe at the front row. You're all there in your tuxedos, but you go up in the stands, mate. Come on. Who are we trying to kid here?
You're absolutely right.
Neil, on you go. You want to do something, Michael?
Is it as physical as what Simon... I don't mean Simon, but even a layman like myself.
Yes.
When I look at it, I think... I think, is that what they do around the corner or the back of the corner shop, you know, when they're going to sort each other out and what have you? Are you with me?
No,
But
not
I
at
know
all.
it sounds-
100%. I get that. No,
You're saying it's the ultimate technical sport, Michael.
it's so strategic.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
thing is, because of all the different styles, like
Yeah.
you might fight somebody and this guy's a grappler or he's a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy or a boxer or a kickboxer. That's what's so fascinating about it, because you see, how is this guy going to approach fighting this guy? What is the game plan going to be? He's going to try and get him to the later rounds. He's going to try and wrestle him down, or he's going to try and keep it on the feet. So each individual fight is a different puzzle that you have to, solve,
Yes.
as opposed to just. I mean, listen, I love boxing. I'm not here to talk bad about boxing.
No,
Far
sure.
from it.
But in your
I'm just
sport-
here to defend the honour of mixed martial arts.
There you go.
Come to the O2 Arena Saturday night. You'll love it, sir.
Not if you tied my tongue to the back of a bus.
Michael, fantastic. Honestly, the messages that are coming in. There's one there. Graham, Neil, Simon, Jim, you're in the company of a true legend. We are. Mr. Bisping.
Well, very kind.
Phenomenal. Great having you here today.
Looking
and
forward
remember, Bisping, the Michael Bisping story is available to rent or own on digital from March the 21st. Michael, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure's been all mine. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Michael.